Okay, welcome everybody. We are doing our town hall meeting for September of 2023. Please make sure that as we do this town hall meeting, there will also be an attestation for everyone who watched the town hall meeting on YouTube so that they can sign off that they watch it and understand everything within the slideshow. We're going to start off today with looking at a couple different things. We're going to talk about safety. We're going to talk about active shooter, body mechanics, corporate compliance, um, hazardous classifications, HIPAA, and we're going to go through some nursing information, customer service. It's just some new faces, new leadership, and some new expectations. So first things first, as a healthcare facility, we are tasked with taking care of people. We house up to 250 people with almost 350 staff. So we need to make sure that we're keeping their safety as our highest priority. To maintain that safety, we have to make sure that our building doors are locked. All of our doors are locked except for used by your badge. Your badge will let you in and out of all the doors. We want to make sure that when using a door, you're only using main entrance doors. One of the reasons is those are all videotaped and that videotape is recorded. Also, it just makes it safer for everybody. Go out of a side door that isn't cameraed. It gets kept open and bad things can happen. As you can see, you never know what's outside those doors. So please, if everybody can, make sure that they are using the main doors and making sure those doors are locking. Never prop open any other doors because again, snow could keep them open or there might be a rock in there. Either way, it makes it unsafe for everybody. So, all right, what do you do if you encounter somebody in the building that you don't know where they came from? Maybe they look suspicious. Right off the bat, you want to get your supervisor and call the Garfield Heights Police. Do not try to confront the individual. Obviously, make sure our residents are safe, but contact the police immediately. Active shooter, something we're going to talk about. It's been an ongoing concern. We hear things on the news. Things happen all the time that we want to make sure that we keep our residents safe. So in the event of an active shooter, we're going to talk through a couple things. We want to make sure that you're safe. So the first things we want to do is make sure that you're safe. And this goes to the first thing we're going to talk about, and that's kind of run. So if possible, we want to run. If you can move a resident to safety in the meantime, great. You want to make sure you call 911. Even if you think someone else is calling, make sure you're calling. If possible, announce over a pager system code silver. Code silver is universal for active shooter, and you want to say where they're located because that's important. And you want to say this is not a drill. Please secure your area. So again, if at all possible, you want to move a resident, but you want to make sure that you're safe because again, we want to be able as caregivers to come in and help after a situation. If you're evacuating, you want to try to remain calm. Call those police, call 911, try to speak clearly, make sure they know exactly what's going on, your location. As the last resort, and only when your life's in danger, you want to try to fight. So this goes to the theory of three, which is run, hide, fight. First thing you want to do is you want to run. Second thing you want to do is you want to hide if you can't run. And third thing is fight if you need to fight. When the police arrive, if you are hiding or we need to evacuate once they arrive, make sure you leave calmly. Keep your hands above your head. Do not yell or scream. Again, you do not want to distract the police when they're trying to look for an active shooter. GHS, hazardous classification labeling. So this is something that's been going on for a while. We used to call them MSDS books or SDS books, safety data sheets. These sheets help us to inform us when something is a chemical that can be dangerous, maybe if it's ingested or it gets in your eyes. All of our supplies that we use for cleaning, medical care, liquids, they have this GHS classification. And based on that, which is the globally homogenized system. Um, Globally, everyone uses the same terms with this GHS system. So no matter where you go, they all fall back to the same algorithm of why it's dangerous, what to do for that. So if in fact you ever come across something and you get it in your eyes or you accidentally swallow something, you want to get those SDS books and see, okay, I did this, what do we do? What's in this product? What do we need to call poison control with? What do we need to tell the first responders? So and all of our items would have this classification. Just remember that there are books at the nurses' stations that those STS sheets, and we should be referencing them if anything was to happen. Eye wash stations are located in every public bathing area for the residents, the main tub rooms. There's ones in the kitchen. So just always remember the main tub rooms is one area where you can always find eye wash stations. For a minute here, we're going to talk about body mechanics because it's very important to have good body mechanics because without having good body mechanics, we can really increase our risk for back pains or injuries. It really starts with the way we move. We want to make sure that when we're moving, we move in a safe manner. We want to make sure that when certain activities require lifting, that we're doing it in an appropriate way. And we want to plan our activities. So when we talk about a transfer, we need to talk about planning it. So what do we need to get ready? We need to get help or use an assistive device. We need to make sure the paths are clear, that we use proper positioning of the bed, the chair, or equipment. We transfer the patient on their strongest side. Make sure, if they've had a stroke, possibly they have one side that's really weak. Let's work on the one that's stronger. Ask the patient to help. We don't want to try to do all the work ourselves. That's going to be a lot of work. And use drawstrings or other things that may help us that, again, aren't going to hurt us and will assist us. Gait belts are great to use when transferring. Everyone should have been issued a gait belt on hire, so we should have those. If you don't have one, you want to look for one before we do a lift or a heavy lift. Do not lift people under their arms. This can often cause shoulder injuries. Slide boards can be used oftentimes, but we need to make sure that's done under the direction of therapy. And remember, your back needs to be straight. Avoid twisting if at all possible when you're lifting. Keep things close to your body and keep them smooth. If you are herky-jerky with it, there's a good chance you might injure yourself. And I'm going to turn this over to Celeste and let her talk a little bit through HIPAA.
HIPAA. I need to.
Go ahead, Celeste.
I'm ready. So how I change the slide? Thank you. HIPAA has three parts: privacy, the national standards for how protective health information may be used and shared, how we share it, how we use the information that we have on our residents. Security, the safeguard that must be implemented to protect confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the EPHI. What is reasonable and appropriate for the safeguard depends on how we create the information, how we receive their information, how we maintain it, and how we transmit it. The third one is the breach notification produced for notifying individuals, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. In some circumstances, we might have to notify the media if there is a breach of unsecure PHI. The notification must be given within 60 days or sooner. Patient rights under the HIPAA. Patients do have rights to look at and get copies of their health information in the form and manners they request. They will fill out a medical record request form to request those records. They have the right to ask for corrections of their information as far as their name, social security number, and contact person. There is rules that does permit us and disclosure of a PHI needed for care and other important purposes. Confidential communication, text, emails, and phone calls. We have secure messaging and PCC, so we're asking that you do not use your personal phones to text the doctors or the nurse practitioners. We do have a services that we use. Do be careful when you're emailing. You can put in secure or you can put in the subject line confidential, and that would make the email secure. Be real mindful of how your phone calls are made and where they are made from. But we're really pushing the secure messaging when you're messaging to a physician instead of using your personal texting. Safety against cyber attacks. These are our responsibilities under the HIPAA. We to report breach or unsecure PHI, provide notice of a privacy practice, and respond timeliness of requests for medical records. So the residents have 7 to 10 days to get their records, up to 30 days, depending on the size of the records. There are 18 PHI identifiers: names, telephone numbers, email addresses, URL addresses, your social security numbers, medical record numbers, your health plan benefits. So when you think that your old insurance cards are no longer good, they can still be used. These are the way that they identify you, your vehicle identification number and security numbers. But there are 18, but the most ones that they use are name, telephone, and social security numbers. HIPAA violations. These are ways that we can be in violation of HIPAA. Looking at a patient record who you no longer are caring for because you are concerned about that patient. If we have a patient that would go out to the hospital and we want to just see what is going on with them, but they're no longer coming back to us, we're not allowed to do that, even though we do have access to some information through Cleveland Clinic. No posting patient information to any personal or social media accounts. We're not allowed to put them out on social media, TikTok, Facebook. We're not allowed to do that. Don't post pictures of your workload or paperwork. Pictures can be enlarged and information might be visible. I work in medical records and I'm not allowed to take selfies and take pictures while I have files and things open because someone can upload those, enlarge them, and see the information in my office. So we ask that we do not do that. Don't download PHI unsecured devices to your flash drives, iPads, cell phones, or hard drives. We're asking that you don't use the flash drives to take information from your laptop or from your desktop to take home to work on. That is a violation of HIPAA. Don't check medical records of coworkers or friends because you are concerned about them. So if a friend come in and you know them or being aware of someone that coworker or friend, we can't go and look into their records to see what's going on with them or inquire about their information without permission. That's a violation. As James is my son. We work together. If he came in as a resident, I couldn't go looking into his records. Even though I'm his mother, even though I work in medical records, that is a violation to him and to the facility. We don't share our passwords under any circumstances. Your password is your password, and we ask that you do not share it. Don't leave your computers unattended while logged in. I mostly say this to the nurses and to the SNAs because they do have their own areas where they document information. If you walk away from your station where your laptop is, we ask that you lower it down or you log out so no one can look at the information of the patient. And if you're on a desktop, we ask that you lock it out when you step away from your computer. Watch where you are discussing patient related items. Be mindful of your surroundings and where you are when you're discussing personal information about the residents. How are HIPAA regulations enforced? Office for Civil Rights, which is OCR, the agency that enforces the privacy regulations, providing guidance and monitoring compliance. The Department of Justice, which is DOLJ, the agency involved in a criminal privacy violations, provide fines, penalties, and implementation to offenders. I always say to people, I love the color orange, but I do not want to wear it 23 hours out of the day. There are penalties when we do have a HIPAA violation. HIPAA criminal penalties are between 1.5 million and possible imprisonment up to 10 years, and a HIPAA individual penalty, meaning not only would the facility be fined, but we can be penalized as the individual for causing the HIPAA between 50,000 to 1.5 million a year in fines. OCR files claims against the individual as well as the facility, and you can have more fines for multiple years. The facility has disciplinary actions as well.
Thank you, Celeste. We're going to jump a little bit into advanced directives. Just want to make sure everybody probably knows this, but we want to review. Advanced directives are items like living will, durable power of attorney over finance and healthcare, and your code status. These things are very important. The things as healthcare providers we need to know about. We need to understand that who is responsible for an individual patient and what's their code status. God forbid they do have a code blue and they lose consciousness. How do we know what to do? So please make sure that when we're looking at charts or meeting new individuals, these are things that we need to know about. We don't have Roz with us, but I'm going to just tap on for a second patient-centered care. Patient-centered care should be things that we do every day. And what it really is just it's making sure that we're looking at compassion and empathy along with respect for individuals, letting them have a choice in the decision making that they want for their daily activities, expressing their desires. Everyone is different, and because of that, we have to respect that they may want to do something different, or they may want to wear something different, or they may want to go to bed at a different time. Person-centered care is taking in what they want as an individual and putting that into their daily lives. As caregivers, it is our obligation to help them carry out those person-centered care needs. Cultural competency. This one, again, I think should go without saying. We're a religious-based organization. However, we accept all religions and all beliefs. And as a cultural competency, everyone comes from a different background. Everyone comes from a different upbringing. Everyone has different religions. And we as caregivers have to adapt, and we have to work with every person's individualized needs. So the thought that we have to be single-minded is just, it's not appropriate. It's not the right way to be. And it's not what's best for our patients and for our coworkers. So every day we need to think about that cultural competency and make sure that we are doing the right thing for those individuals and being acceptant of different changes and different nationalities and religions and cultures. So please make sure we're all doing that. A little update with the 401k. I know there's been some questions. We had a call with Jake from Wellstone. We are currently just waiting for our new account numbers, and we'll be sending out paperwork on the distribution. That distribution will go either to a new 401k with Wellstone, or it may go to an IRA if you want, or you can even take it out. Obviously, there will be a penalty if you decide to take that out. If inevitably you do nothing with your old Mutual of Omaha 401k, it will roll into an IRA with Mutual of Omaha. So there's that option as well. Please be on the lookout for memos and letters coming out about that, because we're only going to have about 30 days once that gets out, that everybody needs to make sure that's turned back in. All right, and now I'm going to turn over to Kate.
Hello. All right, so at Village of Marymount, just want to remind everyone of our mission here on campus, and that is about being passionate about the people and care on the services we provide by meeting and exceeding expectations, providing quality services, creating that faith-based and competent atmosphere, celebrating diversity, respecting and enriching local community, and leading by example. A couple updates to make everyone aware of. Dan Story has recently been promoted to Regional Director of Operations. My name is Kate Dorsey. I am the new administrator who will be here for the day-to-day operations, and I am your point person for on-call needs and anything of that nature. Mark Schwind has been promoted to Director of Nursing. Michelle Gorman is a new face to the campus. She is our new Assisted Living Administrator. Another new face is Kayla Gurrell, who is the Director of Therapy. Lorraine Sweeney is now Director of HR. She just started, as well as upcoming is Desiree Zabo, our new Wellness Director in the Assisted Living, and her first day will be on 10/17. I wanted to take a couple minutes here to talk about customer service and what it means. Customer service comes in the form of the way we speak to one another with communication, much along the lines of what we've been talking about with respect to person-centered care and cultural diversity and honoring our residents and their needs, customer sensitivity with respect to their healthcare needs, having confidence and decisiveness when we meet our residents and their families in the many different behaviors and or needs that they have when they come through the community. A lot of times our residents and families are very scared. It's a different, they've never been to a nursing facility, they've never been through rehabilitation. And a lot of times when people are in fear, they lash out, come across as angry. But it is our job as professionals to make sure that we are communicating soundly, decisively with our residents, with our families, being compassionate in the way we speak to our residents, educating our families, educating our residents on what's going to happen, who we are, acting with integrity, when you say you're going to do something, when you say you're going to answer a call light, or if you say you need 5 minutes and then you'll return to come back to answer that call light, that you do in fact come back and answer the call light timely. So it's just, customer service really is about the attitude and how we project ourselves and and just being really compassionate to our residents and their needs. Another just a reminder with respect to who our customers are. Our customers are every single person that walks through this door. Our customers are our residents, they are our patients, they are our families. They're the people that we work with. They're the vendors, they're the mail carrier, the ambulance drivers, they are doctors, they're the first responders, they're students who are coming in to figure out whether or not they want to work in healthcare, and more importantly, if they want to work here on campus. It really is everybody's responsibility to make not only our residents feel welcome and secure and safe, but just to make everybody that we interact with feel confident in the great compassionate care that we do provide each day. What good customer service looks like to our residents and basically to our team, it is our appearance. Our residents want to make sure they do look to see how we are dressed, that our nails are trimmed, that we're wearing good supportive shoes, that our hair is pulled back, and that more importantly, and most importantly, that we have our name tag on. So being friendly with our residents and our families, having empathy, putting ourselves in their shoes. I always tell the story when you go to a restaurant and the hostess sits you at a table and all you really want is that glass of water or the acknowledgement that you're sitting at that table, and the hostess or the waitresses keep walking past you and they never acknowledge you. Think of our residents who cannot get up for themselves and cannot get a glass of water for themselves. Put yourself in their shoes. Acknowledge that they are there, that you know they are there, and that you will be with them shortly to help them and care for them. Responsibility, what that means, it means to take action to solve the problem. Go the extra mile. Before when upon entering a room and answering a call light, and if I may add, it is everybody's responsibility to answer call lights. But before leaving that room, asking the resident if there's anything else you can do. Pausing, using your name, calling our residents by their name, being respectful. Again, leads us back to attitude. Positivity is a learned behavior. I do ask that you call our residents by their name versus honey and sweetheart, and that you are being respectful of our people. So expectations, my number one expectation is teamwork. It is everybody's responsibility to answer call lights. It is everyone's responsibility to be engaged in their day, help each other out with respect to our jobs, involving our family with that person-centered care, getting all of our residents to activities. Our activities department, it is really important. They do a great job with respect to getting our residents and offering different types of activities for our residents to go to. However, we need everybody on deck to help get our residents to activities. A lot of our residents that want to go to these activities are the residents who are in their rooms and not necessarily the ones who are already down in the dining room. So making sure that we're heading to each room, asking the resident if they want to do XYZ activity at 2 o'clock, helping get those residents from point A to point B. It's all about that teamwork. It's about engagement with our staff, engagement with our residents. Always keeping those call lights within reach. Making sure housekeeping and maintenance. Again, we all need to pitch in here. When it's the weekend and there's a toilet clogged, we can all use the plunger. We can all use that to unclog a toilet versus calling a maintenance person in. And again, acknowledging the people within your view, acknowledging those call lights, looking up when people are walking through the front door, and saying hello to our families that come in and having a smile on your face. It really does instill a sense of confidence in our families that the people, when they see people acting in kindness in the hallways and are happy in the hallways and are happy and confident in their care, it instills the confidence in our families that their loved one is in a good, caring place. We expect that there's gratitude, there's kindness, that you have a servant leadership heart, and that it is everyone's job on this campus, and to understand that everyone's job on this campus is just as important as the others. I know I am new here on campus, and the atmosphere is so very welcoming, and I do see that you do a great job, and I thank you for the welcome that you have given me thus far. If you do not know who I am or haven't seen me, I encourage you to come find me, knock on my door, open my door, come in and say hi. And I really look forward to working with everybody. And just one small quote to get us to remember is, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And this is a little quote from Maya Angelou that myself and Michelle, the administrator in the assisted living, really like and want to make sure that you guys hear.
I believe Mark is up next.
Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the nursing portion. We're going to talk about a few different things here. If we could proceed to the next slide here. Some changes are coming to documentation. Actually, they are now here. They started on the 1st of October. Changes in the way we document. This affects mostly the STNAs. Independent is now defined as the resident completes the activity by themselves with no assistance from a helper. Setup or cleanup assistance is defined as the helper sets up or cleans up, but the resident does everything in between. There's no assistance of the actual activity. Supervision or touching assistance, the helper provides verbal cues and or touching, steadying, or contact guard assistance as the patient or resident completes the activity. Assistance may be provided throughout the activity or intermittently. Partial or moderate assistance is defined as the helper does less than half the effort. The helper lifts, holds, or supports the trunk or limbs, but provides less than half of the effort during the movement. Substantial or maximal assistance, the helper does more than half the effort. So they may lift or hold trunks or limbs and provide more than half of the effort in the movement. And dependent, the helper does all of the effort. So the patient or resident does none of the effort to complete the activity, or the assistance of two helpers may be required for the resident to complete the activity. The patient refused. This one is pretty self-explanatory if they actually refuse to take part in the activity. Not applicable. This is usually if it's due to illness, maybe the patient isn't feeling well, or is injured. No attempt due to environmental limitations. This would be examples would be not having the right equipment. If that's the case, though, we want to address that and find out why we don't have the equipment, or maybe a weather constraint if it's an outdoor activity. And then no attempt due to medical condition or safety concerns is just that. That one is self-explanatory. So we're going to talk a little bit about customer service and the mission. We've already talked a little bit about that. Kate has mentioned that. Dan has mentioned that. But we want to make sure we are providing competent and compassionate care to not only the patients and residents, but to the families also. Again, about call lights, we need to make sure that they are answered in a timely manner. But it's not only answering the call light, it's how you answer the call light. There's a big difference between walking into a room and saying, "What do you want?" versus, "Hello, Mrs. Jones, I saw your light was on. How can I help you?" It's never appropriate to say you won't help a resident. No matter how upset or rude that resident might be, we still need to care for the resident. So if you're in a situation like that, you can get a teammate or a buddy, just so you have another person with you if there's a situation like that. Remember to leave the call light on until the need is met, and our goal should be less than 7 minutes for maximum for call light. Also, there was a study done that said 66% of the time that a call light goes off, it's a need that anyone can meet. So it's only that 34% of the time that they might want to be toileted or help with dressing or need a bandage changed or something like that. The greater portion of the time, they maybe want water, they want you to hand them their readers that are on the side table or the remote control or something of that nature. Okay, survey prep does continue. We are 2 years since our last survey. That can happen at any time. So a couple of reminders, we want to make sure we're knocking on doors and announcing our presence and our intentions. Keep the environment clean and of course keep our residents well groomed. The environment includes showers, bathroom, the dining room, and with our residents, pay special attention to nail care, for example. That's something that sometimes gets forgotten. Make sure that safety devices are checked for placement and function each shift and as needed. All documentation should be completed each shift, including meal intake. Catheter care, make sure that is performed each shift and PRN. Huddles and shower sheets should be completed each shift and signed by both the nurse and STNA and returned to the unit manager. And again, be mindful of our mission. And then as far as appointments go, we're approaching winter. So when it comes to appointments, not only do we need to make sure that the residents are cleaned, toileted, dressed appropriately, and ready to go before their pickup time, but keep in mind that many of our residents come directly from the hospital and may not have a coat. And once we're into January and it's 20 degrees outside, if we know ahead of time that a resident has an appointment the next day, we might want to call the family and see if they want to bring in a warm winter coat. If we don't have that, we have coats available here in the building, and we can also wrap them warmly in blankets. Want to do a little shout out to Kathy Zielinski, who is a longtime LPN working here at the Villa. She was recently named to one of Northeast Ohio's top nurses by Cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. So if you see Kathy, make sure you congratulate her on that. It's a well-deserved honor. Kathy is now acting as charge nurse on CCU. So we're very excited about that too. Some reminders for nurses. If you don't have access to the med dispense or Pyxis, you can get access by seeing myself or Marissa, the unit manager on SCU. Make sure that once you have access, you remember your password. Every nurse should have access. So if you don't, please see either myself or Marissa for that. Do make sure that you sign things out appropriately. Insulin, for example, is not locked up. It is in the refrigerator, but if you go through the Pyxis, we know that we can make sure that it's billed appropriately to the right resident. So do go through the Pyxis if you're removing anything from the med room. Assignments for each shift are posted at the nurses station. And keep in mind that different shifts do different things. For example, first shift is responsible mainly for reporting labs. They accept pharmacy deliveries, although they come on every shift. Second shift is calling in meds for the discharges for the next day. And third shift is performing chart checks. And that is very important to make sure that if you are a nurse on night shift, that you are checking every chart to make sure that any order that was written that day has made it into PCC. Each shift is responsible for maintaining the med carts and the treatment carts, making sure that remove medications and treatments if a patient is discharged or if a medication gets discontinued. We don't want those things to remain in the cart, especially with narcotics. Once people are discharged, you need to see the unit manager or supervisor so that we can get rid of those immediately. Each shift is responsible for maintaining their medication room and the dirty and clean utility rooms, and that goes for both aides and nurses. So we want to make sure that things are looking good at all times.
I think that's the end of our slides, but I do want to remind everybody that by today, everyone should have been signed up in the time clocks. This is 10/5. Starting next payroll, which will not be this weekend, but the following Sunday, which I believe is the 15th. That morning, we'll begin clocking into the new time clock. So please make sure by today you should have had your face and your fingerprints put into the new time clocks. We don't want anyone to miss out on getting paid or paid correctly. So please make sure this happens ASAP. Again, we appreciate everyone here on our campus for everything they do for our residents each and every day. Once you've watched this video, please make sure that you fill out the test that will be attached to the attestation that you can receive with your supervisor and turn those into your supervisor to give to HR. Thanks again.